Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Turbo Dismount with ZGH Miner, and this time we're back with sound, which is really nice. Alright, this game has been updated quite a few times since my last time that I played this and recorded it, and as you can see there's a few more levels. Yeah, and they also added steering for more levels than just this one. And now that I have voice, I can tell you a bit about it. This is a game that's on Steam, and it's been relatively popular for a while. So, I'm just going to start over with this, and I'm just going to show you the basics of the game and how to do everything. Now, the very first thing that you would find, there's my sound, would be driving, and I'm going to give myself one of the worst vehicles in this, or the first vehicle anyways, and we're just going to run into a wall. And as you can see, this has ragdoll physics. When I crashed, he gets flung into the wall, and yeah, and then you can add a bunch of stuff, like if I wanted to put, let's put that, and then a turbo pad and turbo pad, and we can change his poses and do a bunch of stuff with him. I am going to put him right there, and we're going to just gas it. Here we go. And you can see my guy has fallen down there, and we have fallen right here, and we blew almost every single piece off of our vehicle. Alright, since that level is pretty boring, I'm going to switch over to another one. Here we go. And in this game, in this level, what I usually do is put this right here, and I leave this ramp right here, and I just take different vehicles and show different ways people could get killed by sitting right here. Right from the driver's seat. Pretty safely, actually. Alright, here we go, and yeah, this is going to miss it, and here's the freeway. And as you can see, he's pretty dead. Character camera. Yeah, there's my guy. He's dead. And let's take the Grim Wagon. Here we go. Hang on. Seasonal mode. Dun, dun, dun. And that is how the cinematic camera works. Well, I'm probably... Let's take, how about the roundabout? Alright, we're going to bring you the life of what's his name? I can't remember it. Oh, duh. The life of a daredevil. First, from the vehicle camera. Dun 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 dun. And that is about how it turned out. Now we're going to take this in first person. The life of a daredevil. Jimmy's storyline can be summarized by what you are seeing on your screen. Cue the dramatic music. We've been hit. This is the end, ladies and gentlemen. Little Jimmy is going down. ZGH Miner. Over and out. He sees his motorbike. He's falling. He sees the ground. Collision. Suddenly. Darkness. So much darkness. In red. Everywhere. This is the end. And here we have Jimmy's life in cinematic view. Here is the video of his death caught on a security camera. Dun dun. Dun dun. Dun dun. Now, as you can see, he is coming in. We think he might hit this car, but unfortunately he doesn't, and a bus appears right in front of him. Now, you might think he's going to hit the front of the bus, but instead, he magically manages to land on top of it. He goes up and whacks into the top of this tunnel, and he takes a bit of damage. His body splits in half, violently. His bike goes down with his legs, meanwhile his head falls into a bulldozer. He barely misses the bulldozer, and instead, he slams into the ground at half speed. Right about there. He gets hit by a car, his motorbike is torn to shreds, his legs go about 15 feet away, while his body lays in the middle of the intersection, which actually isn't an intersection. Perfect. Now we're going to observe his buddy, Mo, as he comes along, in similar fashion. Oh no! And there he goes. This one was a bit faster, but it caused quite the pileup. In half speed, we see him heading. Suddenly, he notices another car. He starts to turn, scared for his life. Suddenly, it doesn't work. He hits the car at full speed, and they both collide. His head hits the car in the window, and he goes airborne out of his own car while his bumper goes flying. He hits the ground about 10 feet away from the collision spot and skids to his slow and painful death. He breaks a bunch of bones, as we can see by the side of the screen, and it was not a good day for Jimmy. Actually, this is Mo. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Alright, we're back with Justin, the skateboarder. He makes his way across the intersection, which is this time actually an intersection. He misses it and falls over on his face, only to depart from us again. He starts rolling in the direction of the intersection. Thankfully, none of the cars knew about this turn lane. He tries to go across, and he wrecks, falling backwards. Here we see the life of another man named Poe, and he is in his convertible, running from the police in a violent pursuit. He turns out of their angle, and he starts to swerve, knowing that they will be, coming for him. He slams into a bus as another police car slams into other cars. It seems like the police cars are doing worse things than him, but that's okay, because they're the police. At least that's what everybody thinks. Until Poe's friend comes along, and he gets attacked by the police too. The friend gets flung out of the car, but the car is going wild as he has attached an RC unit onto the car. He flips a police car, and he begins to drive again. He swerves out of the way of the police cars, only to discover that he is in a head-on collision with another car, which devastates him. Susie was having a wonderful day on her tricycle. That is, until she realized that she was in the direction of the police. She fell over and was wrecked into, while another police car came up to her and missed her. Here we see Susie in a second attempt to fool the police. She falls over again and is run over. The police car, however, is flipped but lands back on his tires. This time, she's going to be a little bit smarter. She tries to turn, but her tricycle is not very stable, and her wheel falls through the ground in an epic fail. She tries to turn more slowly, and finally she gets over that little hump, getting wrecked into by 2 police cars who take off with her tricycle, which does a barrel roll in midair and then flips out. Now we're going to watch from the angle of Susie. Susie is riding on her tricycle. She rides around, but the police car hits her. The second police car is hot in pursuit, and he runs over Susie in the midsection. Susie falls on the ground. Meanwhile, her tricycle runs away in a valiant escape. Susie's dad comes, having worked at the construction zone and hearing about a disaster. The police cars have set the traps again, but they weren't ready for this. Timmy, Susie's dad, flips a police car, and then he heads for the rest. Turning, he slams another police car to the side, and he heads for the third. Both of the police cars, which attacked Susie, have been taken care of, but that's not all the business he has with the police. Another comes at him, and he slams that one too. He heads at the final police car, and as he gets into its view, it charges at him. One final flip for justice, and he nails it. Unfortunately, the next day, Timmy, Susie's father, was stuck in the job of running errands in his 18-wheeler, although he forgot the container. So, he came out having a less fortified thing, and found that the police cars were still very angry at him. They rammed into his backside, and as they rammed him towards the other ones, the front exploded and Timmy went airborne, run over by his own vehicle. This was the end. The end. Susie's mother came out the next day, having heard about the disasters which had come upon her family. Unfortunately, she'd eaten a few too many donuts, and she was a bit large. When she ran into the police car, it didn't go over very well. After Betty, Susie's mother, got out of the hospital and the police got out of prison, she tried again. This time, she was destined not to lose. She did a couple donuts just to anger them and then wrecked again and was headed back to the hospital. As soon as she got out, she, not being too smart, headed out again. She was beginning to outrun the police, when suddenly, it hit her. Literally. Her car went in a double barrel roll, luxury items flinging all over the ground, and Betty goes airborne, with a broken neck. She was trapped underneath a police car, unsure of what to do. She lay there, and acted like she was dead. Unfortunately, she was. Let's see that replay. Dun 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 dun. As we can see right here, the camera fell on top of Betty. No, not the camera, the car. Whoops. She was trapped underneath it, with a broken neck. This seemed like the end for Betty. She had eaten too many donuts, and it was the cause of her death. When Susie's cousin Juanita heard about Susie's death, along with both of her parents, she fainted back into her shopping cart and started heading out the door, right for an intersection. The tragedies that befell this family marked them as the unluckiest family in the world. But was that all? Indeed it was not. Susie's Uncle George heard about the disaster that befell all of his family members, and he ran into a stoplight. The horror is real. Susie's other cousin, who appeared to be something of an Enderman, was riding his moped one day. He didn't have a driver's license, but
But who needs that? Apparently, this guy did. After he got out of the hospital, he decided to run away. But instead of running away, he had another tragedy on the exact same road, running into another car. This time, he didn't wake up. Susie's grandmother was relaxing one day when suddenly she too was killed by a truck. She has quite the taste in monster trucks. Apparently Susie's grandfather has a big taste in monster trucks too, because he had one as well, and he was performing a stunt on the same road when he too died. After that, this road, along with their family, was also named the unluckiest road in the world. Susie's Uncle Johnny was sitting on his tractor. Johnny and his tractor. And he was riding around, mowing the grass on the road, haunted by the thoughts. He let his mind wander, and he died. Susie's cousin twice removed, whom nobody knows the name of, chose the wrong vehicle on the wrong daredevil course, and it didn't end very well. When he got out of the hospital, he chose the right vehicle, and it ended very well this time. If by very well, we mean another death, and another failure, and another story. That was about the worst bone he could land on, and he did it. When he got out of the hospital for the second time, he did a wheelie in the wrong spot, cracking his head. It was disastrous. His brother, or his twin, I should say, got there too, and he too had the exact same problem, only he didn't sustain very much damage, and he did Gangnam Style in the middle of the road. After this, his family was forbidden from having any motorbikes, so instead he rented a wrecking ball. This didn't end very well. After an ever-popular music video came out, he decided to try again, this time riding on the wrecking ball. This was destined to fail before it even started, and the shock that he had was too much for him. Susie's stepsister liked to live life in the fast lane. This was also destined to fail before it even started. Taking on some custom steering instead of the steering that was intended, she already was failing in the middle of the thing. She could have done much better, but she was hanging on by one arm. She hit a wall, and her car spun out. Doing a U-turn, it ran over her. Doing another donut, it narrowly missed her, but it didn't matter. She was already missing her arms. What more could happen? Oh, well, it could. Use her as a ramp. Flipping her again, her vehicle stopped. When she got out of the hospital, she tried again, now with prosthetic arms. Now this was not a smart idea from the start. I think she lost another arm. And I think she just lost a bit more than an arm there. Oh no, that's a leg. Not much better. And now out with two prosthetic legs. Susie's stepsister was hanging on by one arm again when the car lost her. She skidded out into the car and was run over for a third time, believe it or not. The clouds of dust kicked up by the car obscured the view of her and made the car unable to find her wherever it looked. The car's engine failed, but it didn't matter. She had lost her other leg. Now was the ultimate time. She was hanging on once again by one arm when she was torn free of the car. The car did another donut, and it almost seemed to be aiming for her, although it could not find her. It suddenly spotted her, running over her foot. She screamed out in agony and was run over again, split in the midsection. The car ran over her in the bottom section, and the car stopped just meters away from her body. She had lost her prosthetic arm, and she was about out of money. However, her car was still in peak condition, and she didn't have to pay off for that. The car did donuts around her and finally changed its strategy, swerving around and heading for her yet another time. The car wrecked. This time, she had to pay a bit of insurance, but it wasn't that bad. She had become a millionaire because of her YouTube videos of her getting run over. Her car was wrecked into. Insurance was going to have to pay a lot for a new car. But a new car wasn't her only problem. She had broken a couple more bones, and she needed replacements, flying out into the intersection. She was desperate, and she was in pain. This seemed like the end as she was cast from the car yet again. But she always had out her recorder, in case something bad happened, like a decapitation. That the doctors can always fix. But that was only what she thought. And as her car got flung out of reach by any medical doctors, she was beheaded and in the middle of a freeway. And as her head got hit yet again, it started rolling, making the recorder sick to his stomach. There's her midsection. New high score. We always love that. Alright, character camera, go. She is cast from the car, as we can see, and she spins out. The car does a U-turn and it heads for her. Run over! She loses her head in the middle of the intersection. She continues flying, as does the rest of her body, until suddenly, the car missed her. A little zippy car came flying along, ramming into the head. This was truly the end, until she got hit yet again. And yet the doctors managed to find her a new car and a new life, thanks to life insurance, which we're pretty sure doesn't work out that way. She was run over violently. All of her car's pieces were flown into the wind. Oh! U-turn! Nailed it! Oh! She was dead before she even knew it happened. Such death was wrought that day that nobody knew what happened until she got out of the hospital and told the story to all of her family that weren't dead. She was cast out of the car, and the car had to wreck. The car accelerated rapidly. Going into the fast lane, it cast her out again, immediately tearing off a bone, and the car wrecked. Once again. Swerving about, she held on by one arm until the car shook her out. There we go. The car did another donut and swerved at just the right time to almost do a barrel roll off of her body. Run over and disabled. Well, we don't know if she'll live. She lived through some of the other ones, though, so the doctors can only hope that she's dead. They don't want to see her anymore, or hear any stories that they believe are lies of the evil car in the footage that we see here. Let's view this in first person. Whipped to one side. She was breathless already. Whipped to another side. The breath was knocked out of her. And on the third time, she was lost. Lost in the wind. She could see right through the map until suddenly, she was dragged by a car. She was flung into the ground as the car swung around yet again, swinging in a donut and whacking her in the head, in the chest. Hitting her again. She lost a limb. Looking through the map, she was hit again, in the ribs and the head. The car hit her once more, and the round ended. Game over, little one. You don't have any more people to kill. Alright, thanks for watching this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and comment and tell me if you want to see more of this. The like challenge for this video is going to be 3 likes. If we could hit that, that would be awesome. And I will leave some other comments or stuff telling you what I'm wanting to see, or what, my voice is still a bit messed up from some of my other videos. What you're wanting to see in some of these other videos, and just give me suggestions and stuff for Minecraft comments and things you want to see me do. And I will try to get back to you, and I'll tell you, yeah, I'll do that, or no, I don't think I'll do that, or maybe I've already tried that or something. So, yeah, I will be back shortly, and I will see all you dudes later. ZGH Miner, over and out.